what I would actually do in the honestly, I'm going to buy David Bell right now. Like that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, really?
Absolutely, David Bell.
Dude, that guy's terrible. He's terrible.
Okay, we have a whole bunch
He's
of
the reason why Donovan Peoples-Jones is an 18% target share, because they have fucking David Bell soaking up 0.78 yards per route run this year.
We have David Bell being a third wheel in the offense.
Fourth wheel in the offense. Sixth wheel, really.
Fourth wheel. It's the fourth.
I think Nick Chubb has more targets. Kareem Hunt has more targets.
For 8 weeks, we have that. And then in weeks 10, 11, and 12, after the bye, we have David Bell, the rookie, seeing 5.56 targets. It's 22% targets.
But eternally optimistic.
And he's free. He might actually be good. And Donovan Peoples-Jones is definitely not good. So if I were going to buy a Browns wide receiver right now, I would be interested in buying Amari because I think he's like fairly priced for the type of production he's giving, and he has a pretty good chance at increasing. But David Bell is like really, really not expensive, and that is pretty appealing to me. I mean, if David Bell were expensive, I would not be buying.
That's true. That's true. He is not expensive.
David Bell is currently valued at 2,155 keep trade cut points. If you were to look at value adjacent players, we're talking about Cade Otton, Gerald Everett, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Renfrow, and Marcus Mariota.
Okay, I understand that David Bell is worth such a small amount of make-believe points that if you go to a new grocery store and you sign up for their membership card, that within like 2 weeks or so, he's like the green pepper that you have enough points to redeem, and then you can add him into your bag for free. That's okay. That's fine. That's your take on David Bell. He's a redeemable green pepper.
He's cheaper than Mecole Hardman and Darius Slayton right now.
I mean, I would definitely rather have Mecole Hardman and Darius Slayton.
Stop it. Absolutely stop it.
I mean, realistically, I'd just rather have like a 4th round pick.
Devin Duvernay.
Yeah, Devin Duvernay triggers me a little bit. I think Darius Slayton might be good. Have you seen those? Like, I mean, I brought up the Walder ranks earlier.
What are the Walder ranks?
The Seth Walder, he's doing these composite wide receiver talent evaluations based on like open scores, contested catch abilities, and yards after catch abilities. And I mean, it's coming from next gen stat stuff. I mean, I'm like inherently skeptical of these kinds of things, but I will say that for the most part, it passes the sniff test in terms of like the guys that you would think are the best wide receivers in the NFL are leading the top of the list, where it's at least has my attention, such that the guys who like obviously don't belong where they are probably also a little bit better than we think they are. That's kind of how I look at it. Darius Slayton is crushing it, and he's also just been crushing it like as a player this year. I think that Slayton's only ever had real opportunity in his first year and about half his second year, and then now he's always like earned a fair amount of targets. I'm not like saying I'm not going to make this like a soliloquy about Darius Slayton, but I think he's an NFL player.
Well, yeah, he's an NFL player. He's been in the NFL for 4 years. Of course,
no, but I think he's like an NFL starter. Like I think that Darius Slayton is like a legitimate NFL starter who the Giants mismanaged.
I think Darius Slayton is Donovan Peoples-Jones, but cheaper
and better,
and potentially
definitely better. Donovan Peoples-Jones has a career high 18.6% target share this year. Darius Slayton, as a rookie, posted a 17% target share on a 14 ADOT. And then he posted a 19% target share year 2. And then they didn't let him play football last year. And then here he is this year. He's at 16% target share as a part-time player. So he's at 23.9% target rate on a 13 ADOT. Like,
all that had to happen was Kenny Golladay had to die. Wan'Dale Robinson had to die. Evan Ingram had to get
Kenny
traded.
Golladay is playing now. I think that he was just their best wide receiver, and the Giants just decided they didn't like him for like.
Who else died? Oh, Kadarius Toney had to get traded, and then now we have Darius Slayton, and he's fine. Yeah, all right. Like, there's no buying Darius Slayton.
I hate this conversation. Yeah, I know this conversation has outlived its usefulness for sure, because like I think that Darius Slayton is better than people think, but I also like literally couldn't care less if you drop him in Dynasty. So
exactly,
I also kind of feel that way about David Bell. So
stop it. I'm holding the candle for David Bell. We are only 10 weeks into, or 11 weeks. How many games have they played?
Right.
11 or 12? They played 11 games. We're 11 games into his career.
That's true.
And he's ramping up as these wide receivers tend to do. And we'll just let it ride.
Tyler Boyd upside for David Bell.
Tyler Boyd upside. He's got a wide receiver 1 season on his resume. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, I don't remember how we got here. How did we get to the freaking Browns?
I don't know. Well, we were talking about guys that you'd rather have than Elijah Moore, or rather have Elijah Moore than, and you said you'd rather have Elijah Moore than Donovan Peoples-Jones, and then
that's how we got here.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, and then we talked for Darius Slayton for a while. By the way, if there is a Brown that you want, it's definitely David Njoku.
Oh yeah, of course. We get the light off for David Njoku too. We did the thing that we did with Christian Kirk that has paid off. We did that same thing with David Njoku, which has paid off.
Eventually, it's going to happen for Noah Fant.
With Elijah Moore and Noah Fant. Absolutely. Buy Noah Fant right now. He's free and has the early career pedigree to eventually find his way.
And we're going to do the exact same thing with Darius Slayton.
And we're not
He's part of this group.
Stop it. We're going to do the same thing with Rashad Bateman.
That's another guy with Chase Claypool.
We're going to do the same thing with Chase Claypool. That's right. That's another good one.
Laviska Shenault.
There's a few things in life. I enjoy more than the Hasta La Visca video. Like, that's probably top 2 in my entire life of YouTube videos I've ever seen. And I don't even know what number 1 is, but I'm not willing to go to number 1 without having, thoroughly researched which my number 1 would be.
Right.
But that Hasta La Visca video is hilarious. And we're not holding a candle on for Hasta La Visca unless he's an absolute end of bench stash. He's probably going to be in the NFL for a couple more years. Anything can happen. He was fine as a rookie. He was a fine prospect. It's
Brian Edwards just cleared waivers, and I think that Laviska's time is coming shortly thereafter.
Well, let it be known that what did you tell me about Brian Edwards? You had a hilarious tweet to me about Brian Edwards.
Yeah, I once said in about August of last year, I believe that I said something about dear interested trade partner.
Let me set the stage.
Thank you for your offer of a 2022 second-round pick for Brian Edwards. I will be declining this offer. Something about going to the moon. It was not a good take. It was a really fun week 1 game in which he was donutting for the entire game, and Drew was just like lapping around the field for like 58 minutes. And then Brian Edwards just like not so fast, like Undertaker gift his way like 100 yards in the last like minute and overtime after I think having 1 catch prior to that. So we got the last laugh on Edwards for about 1 week, and then he didn't do anything the entire rest of the year and lost his job to Zay Jones.
I feel like there were a few weeks where, like in the first like 3 or 4 games, there was a couple weeks where he just like exploded in like overtime or like the last minute, and people would just lap on me hard, and then it just stopped happening.
Do you know who Darius Slayton is? He's the guy that took Brian Edwards' job. Darius Slayton is Zay Jones. He's like a guy who was like a pretty shitty prospect who looked like an NFL player first year, weirdly like evaporated from planet Earth for a while, and then he came back and he like made out a nice little NFL career for himself that doesn't really matter for fantasy unless he's a best ball pick.
Yeah, that's fair. Like earlier, Jacob was talking about how
what are the chances that Adiko is like at this point smashed his phone in anger that we just spent 10 minutes talking about Donovan Peoples-Jones, Zay Jones, Darius Slayton.
He's like, nobody matters. Why are you talking about any of these players?
He's like, I don't even care. It's like, I don't even think Drake London matters. These guys are talking about Darius Slayton. I'm tempted to have Matt edit this part out. All right, we're moving on. We talked about Elijah Moore and some other stuff for some reasons.